In a world dominated by beauty standards that often felt unattainable, one woman dared to ask a simple question. What if makeup was about looking like yourself, only prettier and more confident? This is the story of Bobbi Brown, a makeup artist who turned a simple idea into a billion-dollar empire, not by changing faces, but by celebrating them. Our story begins not in a glamorous boardroom, but in a quiet suburb of Chicago, where a young Bobbi was growing up. From an early age, she was fascinated by makeup. She'd watch her mother, a woman with a natural, effortless style, apply her makeup. It wasn't about transformation. It was about enhancement. This subtle philosophy would become the cornerstone of Bobbi's entire career. She loved playing with the colors and textures in her mother's makeup drawer, seeing how a little bit of blush or lipstick could bring a face to life. While other kids were playing outside, Bobbi was busy creating her own kind of magic. After high school, with a passion for makeup artistry burning bright, Bobbi moved to Boston to study theatrical makeup at Emerson College. Theatrical makeup was dramatic, bold, and designed for the stage. It was all about creating characters, often with heavy layers and exaggerated features. But while she was learning the techniques, her heart wasn't in the drama. She was drawn to the real, the natural, the everyday beauty of the people around her. So after graduating, she packed her bags and moved to the one place where fashion and beauty dreams were made, New York City. The year was 1980. The city was electric, but breaking into the competitive world of freelance makeup artistry was far from easy. The industry at that time was all about the 80s look, strong contours, bright eyeshadows, and bold, overdrawn lips. It was a look of power and excess, a stark contrast to the natural aesthetic Bobbi championed. For years, Bobbi hustled. She lugged her makeup kit all over the city, working on any photo shoot she could get. She'd do test shoots for free just to build her portfolio and make connections. It was a grind. Many editors and photographers didn't understand her vision. They wanted the dramatic, high-fashion looks of the era. They'd look at her subtle, clean makeup and ask, "Is that it? Can you add more?" But Bobbi stood her ground. She believed in her philosophy that makeup should be simple, flattering, and accessible. She wanted to make women feel beautiful in their own skin, not hide behind a mask of makeup. Slowly but surely, her persistence started to pay off. A few forward-thinking photographers and magazine editors began to appreciate her fresh, modern approach. Her big break came when she worked on a cover shoot for Vogue with the legendary photographer Patrick DeMarchelier and supermodel Naomi Campbell. Her clean, natural makeup was a breath of fresh air. Suddenly, the Bobbi Brown look was in demand. The industry was starting to shift, and Bobbi was at the forefront of that change. But even as her career as a makeup artist soared, she faced a constant frustration. She couldn't find the right products. The foundations were too pink or too orange, the lipsticks were either too dry or too greasy, and the colors were often unflattering for real skin tones. She found herself constantly mixing and blending different products to create the shades and textures she wanted. She dreamed of a lipstick that looked like lips, only better. One day, during a chance encounter with a chemist, she had a what-if moment. What if she created her own line of lipsticks? Lipsticks that were creamy, long-lasting, and came in a range of natural, wearable shades. She explained her idea, 10 lipsticks, all based on the natural tones of a woman's lips. The chemist was intrigued. Together, they worked to develop the perfect formula. Bobbi invested her own money, a modest amount saved from her freelance work, to create her first batch. In 1991, with 10 simple brown-based lipsticks in hand, she launched her brand, Bobbi Brown Essentials. She didn't have a massive marketing budget or a fancy launch party. Her big debut was at the cosmetic counter of the upscale department store Bergdorf Goodman in New York City. She set a humble goal for herself, to sell 100 lipsticks in the first month. She sold all 100 on the very first day. Women were tired of the complicated, heavy makeup of the past. They were ready for something new, something real. Bobbi's lipsticks were exactly what they had been waiting for. The response was overwhelming. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Women loved the natural look, the high-quality formula, and most of all, they loved the philosophy behind it. Bobbi wasn't just selling makeup, she was selling confidence. She was telling women that they were beautiful just as they are. Seeing the incredible success of her lipsticks, Bobbi knew she was onto something big. She expanded her line, developing a foundation stick that was a game changer. At a time when foundations were liquid and messy, Her stick foundation offered easy, buildable coverage in shades that actually matched real skin tones. It was another instant hit. She followed up with concealers, powders, blushes, and eyeshadows, all designed with the same philosophy of natural, wearable beauty. The Bobbi Brown brand grew at a phenomenal pace. Within just 4 years, it was a major player in the cosmetics industry. Its success caught the eye of one of the biggest beauty conglomerates in the world, Estée Lauder. In 1995, Estée Lauder acquired Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. The deal was groundbreaking. Bobbi, who had started with just 10 lipsticks and a dream, was now a multi-millionaire. But the deal came with a crucial condition, one that Bobbi insisted on. She would retain complete creative control over her brand. This was non-negotiable. She needed to ensure that the brand's philosophy, the very soul of her company, would remain intact. Estée Lauder agreed. It was a testament to the power of her vision. For the next 2 decades, with the backing of Estée Lauder, Bobbi Brown Cosmetics exploded into a global powerhouse. The brand expanded into dozens of countries, becoming a household name. Bobbi herself became an icon. She wrote best-selling books, appeared on television shows, and continued to innovate, always staying true to her core belief that beauty is about being who you are. She was more than just a brand founder. She was a teacher, empowering women with the skills and confidence to be their own makeup artists. But after 25 years at the helm of her brand, Bobbi felt a familiar stirring. The little girl who loved to create, the freelance artist who hustled her way to the top, was ready for a new chapter. In 2016, she made the shocking decision to step away from Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. The non-compete clause in her contract with Estée Lauder meant she had to step out of the beauty industry for several years. Many people thought she would retire, enjoy the fruits of her labor, but that was never Bobbi's style. She spent her time exploring new passions. She and her husband opened a boutique hotel, she launched a wellness brand, and she continued to share her knowledge through new platforms. She was still creating, still innovating, still inspiring. Then, as soon as her non-compete clause expired, she returned to the world she loved most. In 2020, she launched a new direct-to-consumer beauty line called Jones Road. It was a brand for a new era, focused on clean ingredients and even more streamlined, multi-purpose products. It was Bobbi Brown, distilled to her purest essence. Simple, clean, cool. Once again, she had her finger on the pulse of what modern women wanted. Jones Road was another runaway success, proving that her vision was as relevant as ever. The story of Bobbi Brown is more than a tale of business success. It's a story about authenticity. It's about having the courage to trust your instincts, even when the world is telling you to be something else. She didn't just create a makeup brand. She started a beauty revolution. She taught us that the most beautiful thing you can be is yourself. From a girl playing with her mother's makeup to a global beauty mogul, Bobbi Brown's journey reminds us that a simple, honest idea pursued with passion and persistence can truly change the world.